here.
Bumblebee and I will get the soldiers ready. You and Reach Around scout ahead for a clear path so we avoid any detection.
You got it. Wait, but what?
We roll out at 0600.
Welcome back to the Tidal Wave and Voyager. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the weekly news and review for December 10th, 2023. 2023. Of course, we did have some events going on this week, and got some Transformers news. Quite a bit of good stuff. Not anything about Swoop. Swoop still no, see nothing. Got some superpower news popping up this past week. We'll talk about it, but I'm so in the weeds and behind on this line, I gotta probably never catch up. A quick little rumor and speculation that's probably really true about Star Trek and Playmates. Got a very little bit of stuff to talk about when it comes to Super 7, but there is a little bit to talk about Super 7-wise. Two Voltron things to discuss this week. Now, we kind of knew about one. I was turned on to the other one, and I had no idea it was a thing. We'll be talking into those. Lots of Joe reveals. I think Joe, another week of Joe dominating news for the week, whether it's just the sheer amount of stuff that's coming out, but we'll get into that, or it's the excitement surrounding it, both those. And then Star Wars, there's not much Star Wars news, so we'll talk about rumors, and I'll create a news story, because I think that's what you have to do if you talk about Star Wars in 2023. Anyway, we're going to get into talking about this and more coming up. Okay, starting out with some stuff at Show Z. This is the New Age Wymere Grimlock limited version. I gotta tell you, it's $230. This is one of those that they only made like 100 or something like that for the whole run. So there's not very many that are in existence, but I'm shocked that they actually have that. Same thing is going right here. This is that overseas exclusive Threezero MDLX Megatron G2 version. Now, this one isn't actually available to order. It's got that pre-order available notice, like it's coming in. They don't have the stock in yet. They haven't filled the pre-orders, but I imagine there's only like 2 or 3 left. Once they put it up, it'll go fast. Then there's also the Transart BWM03 Metal Leopard Commander Transmetal Cheetor Metallic version, $85. You can just order this right now. I have this ordered, and when it comes in, I'll be taking a look at it. Really like Transart and what they've been doing with this. And they've got a whole bunch of fourth-party KO G1 Seekers. This one is the Thundercracker, and they are $57. So these are more expensive than the Walmart reissues, but they're an option. So getting into some Masterpiece news of the X-Transbots MX46T Big Load Long Haul Light version. So they're already coming out with their repaints. It's called Light version, but it's more of a toy version. It's called Youth version, but it's my understanding this is the toy version. It looks pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. And they're moving along. It would make sense that they're going to put out the alternate versions around the same time that they put out the standard version, because they have the molds already in place. They just need to inject different colored plastic, and that's my belief on that. So that's why this thing's up for pre-order already. And Unique Toys, and I just talked about this Friday, that Unique Toys is done. They're not making any new figures. Well, not making any new G1, I guess. So this is the Unique Toys R06 Dino. Don't know anything about this. It looks pretty interesting. It looks pretty cool, but I assume that it's Masterpiece. But Unique Toys also dabbles in Legends, and there's not much information about it just yet. There's a pre-order up for it. It's got a release date of January 2024. Still not a lot of info on it. So as more info comes in, I will definitely be talking about it. Okay, so we got this from Threezero. It is the Premium Plus Dark of the Moon Optimus Prime, and it has a whole bunch of other stuff going on with it. It is massive. The Prime itself is 19 inches. The rest of it looks like it's close to 2 foot. Is that how tall that all gets? And you have all these other things that go with it. Now, this is a premium one, a premium price. Doesn't say the price on here just yet, but it will also utilize die-cast metal engineering grade plastic frame for a more durable experience and a better articulation, unlike the original premium version, which was all plastic and PVC. We only have one prototype. Not entirely sure why the old one is also on display. It was interesting that all this stuff's going to be coming with it. It's going to be expensive. I'm not sure if they're sold separately, because it looks like there's 2 different little tags on there. But this is a lot of stuff coming out of these shows, but this is something completely different. All right, Threezero MDLX G1 Jazz prototype. And so this is coming along. This is just the gray scale. This is what we see at one of these shows that's going on right now this week. And it looks pretty good. It looks pretty interesting if you're into this bit of a stylized look to it. And I don't think it's too overly stylized. Some of the stuff I think is got a little overboard on the stylization. Still, you have the character in there. Also, they're showing off their Skywarp and Thundercracker along behind Starscream, which has already been revealed. So this is looking pretty good. These actually have some color to them, and I like the color on them. I like the way they look. They look pretty cool. Of course, I prefer a standard G1 look, but you got so much of that already. It's nice to have something different. Then back to a Threezero Deluxe. So this is a big one. This isn't the smaller one. The last ones we looked at were the smaller ones. And this is the Rise of the Beast Mirage. And, of course, Mirage being Mirage in name only, really. But still interesting that they're making it. And it does match the show relatively well. But, of course, doesn't transform. None of these Threezero ones transform. And this was at the Art and Toy Show in Shanghai this December 8th through 11th. Now, out of all of these non-transforming ones, the ones that I think I'm going to like the most, I don't have my hands on it yet. And I like the YOLO Park versions, and this is a Megatron. This is Mr. Elijah, and some of the best, Elijah on Weibo, some of the best art Transformer pictures are around. He does a really good job, and of course he gets his hands on this stuff earlier than some other people do, so he's got that advantage too. But just the lighting and the way he does his pictures, they always look fantastic. But I figured we would use that to warm up towards this next story, and that's this one here. So this is going to be an exclusive, and they still call it a model kit. It's classed out as model kit. You pop like 8 points together, and there it is. But this is the translucent in that whole transformation sequence. This is limited to very few. I think there's only going to be like 40 or 100, something along those lines made. I don't know if Showzi's going to get their hands on any of these. This is one I might pay a little extra for if I can get it for maybe 100 or something. These generally run 60 or so, and I would definitely get my hands on one of these. I think it's a great job they're doing with this line. So far, I've got everything pre-ordered, but it's one of those that you're going to have to jump on it fast if it does show up on Showzi. If it doesn't show up on Showzi, I don't think I'm going to find it anywhere else. The Mastermind Creations MMC Cell Shaded Ravage with Cage is coming out. Now, I think this already came out. I don't have it already, but I got it on pre-order. I think it came out, and then this is a reissue of that, but I might be wrong. It might just have been on pre-order that long. That might be a thing, but still pretty exciting. It's not going to be the jet black like the original one. This is going to be more like a kind of a charcoal gray, and then a lighter gray for the lower legs, but it's a fantastic mold. If this is the only way you get your hands on it for a long time till they reissue the original one, if they ever do, I would still suggest picking this one up, not passing on it, because it's still going to be a great release. Somebody lives in the land of the plenty and found a Target with all this reaction goodness, but these are $20 a piece, so it's pretty expensive for what they are, but it is cool to see it. So reaction Transformers, I have not seen any new reaction Transformers at retail or Target or anything like that pretty much since Think Geek went out of business. So it's interesting to see these starting to show up at some Targets. Hopefully they come to Targets around here, and I might bite on them. Usually I buy them when there's some sort of a deal, 25 off 100. You know, there's a lot of good things about Target and ways to snag these deals, and that's why I'm excited about stuff like this coming to Target. You can get a little cheaper. So getting into some legendary Legends news, this is the LGO2 Legend Scale Starscream for L0. The LGO2 Starscream, we saw the Prime before. This is another picture of the Prime. This is a very nice looking Starscream in my opinion, and it's going to do a lot of things quite interestingly. It has real breasts and nose cone, and neon rays are integrated into the transformation. It can bend, turn, open cab door at a small scale, and is super movable for the 10 centimeters or roughly 4-inch scale above the head. And the vehicle form has total length of 13 centimeters, so more like, 5 inches? Small energy block can be stored in the cab. So there's a lot of stuff that this can do, and it looks like a tiny version of the Takara 3.0. Their 01 is a Prime, and not 100% sure if this is how it's going to fare compared to New Age and all of them, and no prices just yet, and no place to pre-order just yet. But this is work in progress that I look forward to seeing more of. Magic Square's putting out another version of their Jazz, and I think it's all about having clear windshield, but there's got to be more to it that's different than the first run of the Jazz. But it's a great looking mold. It's a great looking figure, and so far the best Legends Jazz out there, and probably will reign king as the best Legends Jazz. Would love to see a shiny paint job on it. That's not what this one is. This one's a clear windshield version. But as I was on the Magic Square site, I got to pull up some pictures they've got of, and this isn't all inclusive. This is just what they said their greatest hits or something along those lines. So I guess what they're most proud of. It's a nice looking set. Those figures, nice looking set they have going on right there. Those are the Autobots, of course. Notice the lack of combiners for Autobots that they have in here. But then we got the Decepticons, and we got 2 combiners. And we've got all this going on there. Now, here's what I got to say, though. I think the Magic Square stuff looks the best, but it would look even better if you pulled out maybe the Seekers and put in New Age Seekers as a possibility. But still, mixing and matching, I think, is still the best way to go, not just getting all the same company. Now, I have this in with my Legend stuff. It's Fans Hobby's masterpiece, MB26, the Saber team. So I have no idea how big they're going to be. They look tiny, though. They look like they'd be Legends. But there they are, and kind of interesting. These are the first test shot samples, and you know Fans Hobby, we're going to see these things, like 8 different iterations of pictures once a week till they're ready to go. So we got an in-hand look at the Studio Series SS-109 Leader Class Bumblebee movie concept art Megatron. And that's what he looks like. Pretty interesting. I think it looks way better in these pictures than we were seeing before. Pretty cool looking overall. If you're into this, something to look forward to. I know the Studio Series stuff is really top notch. They've been doing a really good job with all of that. And as for it to match the show and all that, I'm not 100% sure how much it matches to the movie, but it still looks pretty interesting. Alright, so we've got pictures of this Year of the Dragon, and it is called the Crimson Flame. These are the official images at Singapore Comic-Con 2023 event, and it looks pretty cool. It's interesting that what it does, what it turns into. It's just kind of celebrating the Year of the Dragon and all of that good stuff. It's going to be available at Amazon Singapore, and it's going to be released in January 2024. Allegedly, still not a lot of information if you're going to try to get your hands on this outside of that, but pretty cool looking, pretty interesting. We got pictures of the Legacy United Core class. That's why it looks so small. It's Core class. Megatron in hand images, and that's what it looks like. It does look really small. Here is the alt mode, what it transforms into. Simplistic. I actually think it looks really good for being a core class, for being so small, and I'm kind of impressed. I mean, they've gone through some really great links with these core class to make them a little bit better. They're not quite the level of Magic Square, New Age, or that, but they're also a third or a fifth of the price. New images of Tiger Hawk showing up, and that is pretty cool. He's much bigger than I thought he'd be. I really didn't think he was going to be that big. So I like these kind of comparisons so you can get an idea of how big these are going to be. Thought he was going to be, I don't know, a good 2 inches shorter than that, and very impressive figure then. So that is quite impressive that he's going to be that big. And there's the alt mode. So that's sort of, I mean, you're going to be able to do a lot more with it than that. This is just kind of, I guess, kind of showcasing and showing off everything from the side. So the biggest news this week is Tidal Wave, but the biggest impact on the community news is probably this Concepts Origins version of Wheeljack. Now, the first thing I want to say is that they're calling it the Transformers Legacy United Voyager's Origin Wheeljack, which makes me start to wonder, is this going to be one of those things that is not going to go to Target as the Buzzworthy Bumblebee, as the other ones were all Buzzworthy Bumblebees? And then now this one's not saying it's going to be Buzzworthy Bumblebee. So I don't know just yet. I found it easy to find the other ones at Target, and the other ones went on sale at Target. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they're doing it as a widespread release. Maybe, or it says on here a 2 days. I don't know what's going on with that. Still, it's exciting that we're getting this. This is from the first episodes of Transformers, and we're finally getting them. Does it look exactly perfect? No. But it doesn't look bad. I mean, the lower legs are a bit chunky, And, well, overall, he's a bit chunky. He's kind of beefy. I was wondering how they'd pull this off, and I think they did a pretty good job. A pretty okay job. This thing is actually going to be a Voyager scale, so it's going to be bigger than the others we've seen, and it's going to carry a higher price point, I'm sure. But, yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited for it. My son's definitely excited for it. And he's only semi-happy with the Stranger Things crossover, by the way. Alright, so Tidal Wave's revealed. This is what he looks like. He is a big dude. He is big. That's what we want with these. Now, my understanding... I didn't know anything about Tidal Wave, to tell you the truth, other than what people tell me, hey, we want this made. But it splits into 3 different components. That's really interesting how that works. And so that's something... I don't know if the original one did that. I guess I should look into it. So I'm learning more about some of the stuff that I never really had anything to do with before. But it's kind of cool that they're doing this. This is probably... Well, it's definitely better than what they did with their Metroplex. This is showing some different components of it that it breaks down into. And because I just thought he broke down and just transformed into a carrier, but kind of like turning into a flag or something. I thought that would have been really cool, pretty interesting. But that's not what happens. That's not how it goes. And there's the 3 components to break down into. One last point about their wheel jack, and they're saying, based on this picture from another source, that you're gonna be able to put your Bumblebee in there, and I assume you'll be able to put the electric rods, those rods that they had in there that look like long fluorescent light bulbs. You'll be able to put those in there too, I think. I assume. But pretty interesting. And some other stuff, they were showing off the new G1 articulated Prime that's going on. So that looks pretty cool. I'm excited for that. Also, I'm just curious how far they're going to go with it, how deep they're going. And since it is Takara, they could make a G1 Megatron and really fix all the problems with that. Well, not all of them, but a lot of the problems with that. Would be interesting to see how far they go after this. Or will this just be a one and done? Still exciting, though. They showed off their movie masterpiece, Ratchet. That's something. That's a thing. These are going to be... I think these are even going to be at Targets. So it's going to be a thing that you can get if you wanted to get them. Now, I don't know if you remember this Magmatron, but there's Magmatron. And the more I see of it, the more I'm warming up to it. It's a pretty cool concept. It is a pretty interesting take on something from a different era, or a different age, long ago, or in the future, whatever. Here it is with breaking it down into the components, and that is pretty cool. That on display. All right, this is last. Is it really newsworthy? I don't know. This is the Takara told me Transformers listings for December of 2023, and they have this Legacy TL65 Bumblebee animated, the 66 Autobot Chase, the Infernac Magnios, and then we have the Studio Series 127 Megatron, Studio Series 126 Scorponok. And with that, some of the stuff is recolors of stuff that we already have, and well, it pretty much it all is, isn't it? All right, with Transformers news out of the way, I got to roll into some Super 7. There are 2 things to talk about. Don't have the picture for the first one, but I'm talking about it anyway. It is the Turtle Van should be shipping. He did do a live stream with Foosh talking about this, and that should be coming. And it's like we're going to be getting the NECA one at the almost exact same time. We're going to be getting the Super 7 one, and we'll see which one's better. From my understanding, the Underground Arsenal is still the best from what everyone's saying. But I'll wait till I get my NECA to find out. Anyhow, they also say, or Brian says, that by the end of December, these should be shipping. So if you order from BBTS, you should get your arrival notices by the end of December. They should be sending them out by the end of December. So this is the wave, and I don't remember what wave it is. I think it's wave 7 of Thundercats. Is it wave 7? But it's been a long time since we've seen a new Thundercat, like a new mold of a Thundercat. And so that's pretty exciting. These all look fantastic. And yeah, I look forward to them. And yes, I'm going to get mine at full price. And if I get a second, I'm going to wait and maybe get a deal somewhere. All right, so over at T9 News, there's a report that they got from Trek Core, and they're suggesting that Playmates Toys is done with making Star Trek. Now, here's the thing. I'm not shocked at all. I haven't heard anything about this. I got mine. I didn't buy any of these till they went on clearance, and then I bought them for like $5 each, and I got a few figures. I don't have the next second wave, whatever that's going on. I did buy the 90s stuff. I bought almost everything for $70 all at once to get the whole, like, probably about 85% of the whole toy line for $70. And then I filled some of the gaps with carded figures for $2. This is really a hard sell when the other stuff still looks pretty decent, and these are a little shorter, I think. But anyhow, I can see why they'd cancel it, because they probably haven't made any money off this at all so far. Before I get into the entourage of Joe news, some side things that this took me by surprise. Darkwing Duck, my understanding Darkwing Duck stuff is few and far between, and people seem to love it. So this is a Diamond Select, and it is the Nega Duck and Darkwing Duck 2-pack from Diamond Select, $45. You get a BBTS, Entertainment Earth, and Amazon. And so if you're into the Darkwing Duck stuff, then you might want to get this. I don't see anywhere where it shows the level of articulation, but I do see in another picture like some cuts. So there is articulation to them. They aren't statues like this picture would infer, but pretty cool if you're interested. So the McFarlane 5-inch, 4.5-inch, 5-inch Superpowers line. This is Wave 6. They're supposed to be $9.99 each, depending on where you get them. Lord Superman, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, Sinestro, which is sold out at places, and Batman of Zurum R, whatever that means, Flash Gold Edition, Batman Gold Edition, which are sold out on, I think the only way you can get them is you have to buy the whole set. Then you can only get those at McFarlane Toys, which, that sucks. Here's the thing, I'm just behind on this. I think the best way to get it, I'm going to probably order from Entertainment Earth, probably, because they are still $10. I am seeing a lot of this stuff starting to show up at some GameStops, so that might be a place to find these if you missed out. Like if you're looking for Sinestro, GameStop might be the way to get it, but I think the best way to get it would be to go to Entertainment Earth. And they actually show that their set of 6 does have the gold Flash and the gold Batman also. Okay, so Action Toy is putting out a 5.6 inch, so under 6 inch Voltron, and I believe I've shown this before, but I didn't know the price. $220 for a 6-inch figure. Now it is made of die-cast, and it does have paint, and it does have fully articulated. It does transform 100% of the way. And I don't know. I don't think there's any other 6-inch ones that 100% transform. I know they made the motorized one back in the day. Was that Matchbox, or was that another company made the motorized version? This, though, it's very expensive. But it seems like Voltron stuff is commanding quite the high price these days. But I don't know if I'm in on it for $220. I mean, I don't really think I can be. Then we got over here, this is the SOC getting reissued with toy colors. It's kind of the toy deco, which means you have vac metalized on the leg and the torso is what I believe, but it doesn't say it specifically, which it would suck if you're expecting it to come in with vac metal on the legs and on the waist area, and that's not the way it comes. Wish there was a little bit more detail on it, but yeah, it is coming back out for about $330 or something along those lines. $330, $360. Correction, $380 at BBTS with a $38 non-refundable deposit, and it says it will include additional parts and accessories, but doesn't say anything about anything else being vac metalized. Okay, getting into Joe, there's a lot of Joe stuff to talk about. First off, the his tanks are shipping. I got mine. I've got to find time to do an unboxing. I don't know how much I'm going to do with it. I got to find time for that. I really do, because it's a big event, but I've got a lot of things going on. Now, looking at this Gung Ho from Hiya Toys, 4-inch tall, and I'm going to say this, I think it looks weird. I think they're going with a more stylized look. They're trying to pick up where Classified started, and it's like that's the direction Hiya's going, and that's probably not for me, but I think it's smart because there's a lot of other people that are going for exact cartoon accuracy, so if you like their style, then go with this for the 4-inch. Alright, so this isn't really a whole lot of reveals in here. It's more or less we are getting straight to the figures, and I like that. Now, generally how they go is they have a segment of figures like this that you can pre-order, then they have renders, and then they have name-only reveals. Well, they literally just did figures you can order and name-only reveals and skip the middle-of-the-road renders. I'm not exactly sure why they're doing that, but I kind of think we're going to see renders of the name-only reveals at their next event, and I guess it's just going to be 2-tiered instead of 3-tiered. Doesn't really matter. we can move through some of this pretty quickly because we saw the leaked images last week. And Big Boa, I like Big Boa. I had him as a kid. A little surprised he doesn't come with a punching bag, but that's, I guess, cost prohibited. I do like the way it looks, though, and it's kind of fun. And this is exciting when you start getting characters like this. I know it's a military line, but I kind of get bored with a bunch of green military characters, oddly enough. Then we get into Quick Kick, and I think he looks fantastic. And this is, like, literally, we had no idea what he's going to look like. The renders are the renders, but this guy looks good, and I like him. The face, to me, I feel doesn't really match the cartoon as much as I would like. This is where I'm happy with this as a classified figure, but I really am interested in seeing what Super 7 does. Super 7's face will probably match the cartoon better than this, and that's where Super 7 lives. But this does look a little bit on a stylized take, but still pretty true to form. I like the way he looks. Good job. Then we get a Techno Viper, and I think I said his name wrong once. Somebody got mad about it or something. But he looks good purple. This is one of those that you could consider it a troop builder, but I just can't see people building an army of 20 Techno Vipers. But then again, somebody probably will out there. That could happen. But yeah, he looks really cool, looks really good, and really true to the original source material and the original figure, and a whole lot of fun. Getting into a retro Scarlet, I think she looks great. She does, and I kind of felt like this. She has like that sneer, like a kind of a, I don't know, kind of like a sneer going on. But aside from that, she looks good, and I like how smooth the arms and legs look, and they look correct in my opinion. Like the smoothness of this figure is what I like, and not a whole bunch of like wrinkles and ripples and all that kind of stuff, because that's not how the character was. And so that's right on. Again, we already kind of saw what she's gonna look like with the figure that we got from the Hasbro Dragonfly, the Glinda figure, and so just pulled her up real quick, and she does match it really darn close. Pretty much 100%. Yeah, we were all right. And here's Duke, and I still want to say this about Duke. I think Duke's face, not 100% right on with what I was thinking the face would look like, but I still think it looks pretty good. And I have to say that overall, I'm impressed with the way they pulled this figure off, and he looks good. Also, getting the packaging, they said that they're going to have much stiffer, sturdier card stock. They've said that in the past. I just picked up a Star Wars figure, picked up something that was at Ross, and just feeling how ultra flimsy those card backs are. Just in the wild, they just have no chance, especially at Ross. They have no chance of sustaining any sort of structure to that card back. But anyhow, that's looking like this on the card. I love this. Looking at a few more of them in the in-package shots, we got the Quick Kit in his. Now, the return of the windows is a big deal, a really big deal. And I do want to say that the later package art got better, but the windows, just amazing. I mean, being able to see your figure, see the accessories, it just feels right. It just feels right. I mean, I would actually prefer all of them on retro style card backs, but if we're going to get it in a box form like this, I want it like this. That's great. I'm happy we're back to Techno Viper. Happy we're back to all of that stuff. Then here's the good old Glinda. Not Glinda. Scarlet. Alright, now I haven't talked about Rakondo at all, but Rakondo is not new. It's just a repaint of what we already got. And we've had the Rakondo and the Tiger Force for a while. And so many people were mad, thinking we wouldn't get Bazooka and we wouldn't get Rakondo. And now we got them. Which I still feel is kind of odd that I think this is the first time they've done this where you've got a Tiger Force or Python Patrol, but you don't get them a standard one. Am I wrong? We didn't get a standard looking one in a standard box. It went straight to the retro card bag. And so if you want one in a standard box, I guess that's not happening. I don't understand all that, but hey, I'm just glad it's coming. And I'm glad you can get it anywhere like BBTS. I got all my stuff pre-ordered at BBTS. It's $1 more than everywhere, but if I find it in the store cheaper, I can cancel it real easy. Okay, and here's Airborne. I just got all my pictures out of order for whatever reason. Doesn't really matter. It's all there. And it looks good. This is the one that everybody was thinking that was going to be an unlocked tier for Dragonfly, which was a really bad idea if they did that, because it's a character everyone needs to get. It's a standard character. Now, if he was an unlock for maybe a Night Force, something like that, that would have made sense. Or even a Tiger Force, like make him a Tiger Force or whatever. But it doesn't make sense. It would have made sense to make a main character and unlock only. That would have just made a lot of people really mad. But anyway, looks good. Last two are these cash grabs, Soldier Infantry 60th Anniversary, and literally just cash grabs. I'm sure underneath there, what is it, a Snake Eyes or something? I mean, this is just, I don't like this. I don't like that some people are going to love it. Some people are going to love this, and hey, it's a great idea for some people. But for me, I mean, I'm collecting G.I. Joe for G.I. Joe. I'm not collecting generic figures like this. I mean, I think that we would probably go Valaverse and get something like this with Valaverse, because Valaverse does stuff like this already. They already do stuff, but anyway, I mean, that's the way I view it. Here, like, why not put a Cobra symbol on this thing and call it an eel? Because you can't get an eel, because you're not allowed to have eel. You're not allowed to. It's just restricted. You're restricted from buying Cobra eels. It is off limits to collectors. So now you can pay $35 to get this. I know it's not exactly an eel, but I mean, when I first saw it, I thought this is. I first thought that they shorted the eel so they could sell this. That's just what I was thinking. And I was like, man, if that's really what they were thinking, that would suck. Probably not. It was just short-sightedness. But anyhow, I'm not getting it. Guess it moved fast enough. We're running out of time. Okay, getting into the name-only reveals, we do have some great ones with Starduster, Nemesis Immortal, and they're renaming Nemesis Falsa. Nemesis Immortal, probably some sort of copyright issue. Xandar, and then Leatherneck. So we have a bright future. Great figures. The fact they're doing the Nemesis and Nemesis Falsa, he's going to be big and beefy and buff and a lot of fun. That'd be outstanding. And then the fact that we're probably going to get Pythona, we're probably going to get all of those other ones. I'm excited for it. But also getting into that we're getting so many of the Dreadnoks. I'm loving that. And also getting into some of these really rare and hard to find figures like Starduster in the finish line and making them in the main line. What I've noticed though, if it's super ultra rare and hard to get your hands on in the finish line, it almost doesn't sell at all in modern. Let's wrap this up with some Star Wars news. I feel like the only person that talks about Star Wars news on the internet now, so here I am. The first rumor is surrounding The Mandalorian Season 4 could be turned into a movie and will not be released on Disney Plus. Instead, it'll be turning into a movie, and it will be the first new Star Wars movie to be released in a long time. So that's a rumor only. So instead, there's some news about the Rey movie, what could be very well Star Wars version of the Marvels, and that it's going to be a TV series. So they're actually saying that filming hasn't begun yet, and filming could begin in the summer of 2024. They could make it a show. They could scrap it all together. They said it's going to be similar to The Marvels, which was why I was thinking it would be kind of like a show. But there's a few other updates. Andor Season 2 is going to be delayed until 2025. The Acolyte is to be released in the second quarter of 2024. Skeleton Crew, I don't even know what any of this stuff is. Pushed back to the holiday release of 2023 is pushed back tentatively for holiday of 2024. Bad Batch Season 3 is still expected to be released in 2024. Will be the final season. And all of this is going on, but I got to say this. My wife said that Disney Plus went up $40, and she's not going to renew it. So this is our last year of Disney Plus, so I won't be watching any of these shows anyway. All right, the next 17 who's brought us some really cool figures in the past. And, you know, last 17 was the last of the vintage Star Wars. This is what probably could have been made or should have been made by Kidder back in the day. So we've got some new figures coming out. We got Elez, Wolfman, Faltapern, is that his name? Devilman, and yeah, pretty cool stuff. The Hermes seems to be sold out. These are between $51 and $55 each. They do carry a bit of a premium because they're small production runs. They're not producing 300,000 or 100,000 like Hasbro. It's probably only in the 1,000, 2,000 getting made. And they do reuse a lot of the torso pretty much for most of them. Still, it's exciting. It's pretty cool, and I'm probably going to get my hands on some of these and check them out eventually. But yeah, I think this is really exciting that this is even going on, and so, congrats to the Next 17 for trying to keep Star Wars alive. Lastly, I snapped a picture in a GameStop, and I was pleasantly surprised to see all the Star Wars stuff on the shelf. But the thing is, the choppers, there's two different versions of chopper. There is the retro and then the vintage collection. I think they're both really cool. I do have the first chopper. I have a soft spot for droids in my heart. Really wish they would do all the droids in the Black Series. I'd buy every droid in the Black Series that they make. I buy every one they make. With that, still kind of fun to see these. Seems like the most stocked of up-to-date stuff is at GameStop if you like Star Wars. So what do you think about this week's weekly news and review? What else is going on out there that I miss? I like to stay in the know, like and subscribe, and Tidal Wave and Voyager out.